evening. My name is Carlos Nascimento, and I'm the only one member of the Team 11 of Data 604 project of Cooper's class. I'm present today the minimal deliverables of my project, which the title is Calgary Property Assessment Truths and Myths based on the analysis of a residential property assessment in 2019. First, let's start with a brief introduction. Why property assessment is important and how this is estimated. Property assessment is important for our owners to have an idea of the value of their properties, and City of Calgary to define the property tax to request to them. The property assessment is calculated based on the market value, estimated annually by City of Calgary, and takes into account several factors. For example, land size, property location, and number of school or commercial properties nearby. This project focuses on answer the following question. The main one is to verify if the property assessment or per square feet differ among Calgary communities and per zone as well. If so, identify which factors are important. In addition, we have some secondary questions. For example, are the schools equally distributed among the zones and communities? Another question, where are the population more concentrated? Communities with high or low property values? Another question, have properties near downtown used high property values? And the last one, for each zone, identify the top and bottom communities in property assessment and see if they are totally different property assessment between the bottom and the top communities of each zone. For the analysis, I collect 3 public data sets from City of Calgary. The first one relates to the Calgary assessment property value in 2019 to all the properties of Calgary that is listed in more than 500,000 rows, and contain 3 columns with the filters. The most important filters are listed here. For example, the property assessment, that is the thing that we are evaluating. The community code that was important to aggregate the data sets. The land size, the land use designation, if there is a single family residential or if it's an apartment, just to let you know that for this project, we just take into account properties with less than the 3 stories. And the longitude and latitude. It was important to calculate the distance from the property to the center of downtown. The second data set, one is related to the 2019 census, are separated by 327 communities with 50 filters. The most important filters are listed here. For example, the number of dwellings, resident and home owners, number of children older than 14 years old, and the types of the residence. For example, if a townhouse or single family. The last one dataset contains 207 rows. That is basically the community service available in different communities. The methodology adopted for this project from the collection of the data until the analysis in the database is presented in this flowchart. All the datasets were cleaned and done some preliminary analysis. For example, for the first dataset, some additional filters were incorporated. For example, zones, distance from the property from downtown, and other things. For this dataset property assessment, the data frame was separated in other ones based on the land designation, basically residential, school, and commercial, and the industrial zones, and multiple storage zones. For the first 4, they are separated by community and incorporate again the residential, the original residential data frame, and we clean out of the information for each property that are not related to residential. After that, we aggregate all the data sets that was a clean, and finally we did some analysis in the database using some queries. At the same time, we did some modeling just to confirm the conclusion that we have based on the queries in the database, but I will be not presenting here these results. The initial analysis was done for each dataset, basically consisting in the evaluate the most important information of each dataset and try to understand the data that they have in them. For example, what's the percentage of residential data? We can see that 95% of all the properties in the first dataset are related to residential property. Another thing that we evaluate is how they are distributed between the zones. Not only the residential, but also the commercial, school, and the recreation area, and industrial one. For the community service, for example, we could see the distribution of the number of each community service that we have in each zone. The first analysis that was done in the residential property assessment at the beginning was to evaluate the average property assessment by zone. This table shows the summary that the Southwest with the highest average property assessment, $67,000, followed by Northwest. The average of Northeast is only 397 grams. In terms of profits with the highest values is for one in the crescent heights, as we can see in this table. Almost 10 millions of the property assessment for this property. However, the majority of them are located in Southwest. In terms of communities, the top one was Medicine Hill, but this one contains one property with a high area. As the previous analysis indicated that property with a high lot area on the top and with just one property, it was decided to evaluate the property assessment per area, per square feet, to see if their results were different. In terms of average per zones, the rank was almost the same of the previous one. But the difference between Southwest and Northeast, this was the bottom one and the last one, were not too high as indicated the previous one. Okay. The per community, the top of the list now is Upper Mount Royal with $372 per square feet on average. All the zones all the zones with communities has average values higher than the 200 per square feet, except Northeast, as we can see here, not have any blue in this tree map. In terms of the top and bottom commits in each zone, represented the plot above, we can see, for example, that the big difference between the commits in Southwest, the top and the bottom, but not see the biggest difference between the commits, the top and bottom commits in the Northeast. In terms of property, the highest property assessment per square feet was $859,000 per square feet, just $859 per square feet for one property in crescent height. It's interesting to see in this table that the top 20 properties are located in a distance less than 4 kilometers from downtown. In terms of population concentration, a total of 1.2 million that we have in the second data set, Northwest, Southwest, and Southeast has almost the same proportion. Northeast has the highest number of people per yearly. One thing that we can see, for example, when we separate the top 10 communities with more people, Panorama Hills in Northwest is the most populated community, whereas Eagle Ridge is the last one. The top 10 communities just have one property with average value higher than $600,000 on the average, and more than 10 kilometers from the downtown, whereas almost half of the lowest 10 populated communities has more than 1 million on average property assessment. In terms of children, with people with more than 70 years old, the percentage in terms of the total resident is almost the same per zone as we can see on this table. Regarding school recreation distribution, the majority are located in Northwest, as we can see on this table here, and also the pie plot. Divided by the total number of residents in each community, Northeast starts to have the highest average. However, divided by the number of children per total school, Northeast, the highest number is 82 children per school recreation in Northeast, as we can see in the table here. Checked by community function of the number of children until 14 years old, again, per school recreation area, the most populated community, Panorama Hill, has 87.8, whereas Sky Range in Northeast has 264 children per school or recreation area. It's interesting to see that the only one Northeast and Southeast communities, that is Falcon Ridge community, are in the top of the 20 number of schools and recreation areas, has the average property assessment per square feet lower than the average of the zone. The percentage of owners per zone is similar of property assessment proportion, as we can see in the pie plot here. Divided by the number of dealings, the percentage is similar among the major zones. Checked by the community, the number can vary significantly. For example, in Bayview, 95% of homeowners live there, whereas in Celton, just 14%. It's interesting to see that the majority of the top communities has average property assessment higher than the average of the zone that we present previously. The zone with the highest number of commercial property is in Northwest with more than 1,000, whereas Northeast just have something around 300. Divide by the total number of the deals, we can normalize this number. And now we can see, for example, Northwest and Northeast, each has 61.8 residential property per commercial property, whereas Northeast just have 259 deals per community. Separated by community, Crescent Heights has the top one for that have 20 dealings has per one commercial property, but the community that have more commercial properties, whereas the Taradale and Northeast have for each commercial property represented 2,600 dealings, as we can see on the bottom table. In terms of communities with residential properties, only 8 communities have industrial areas on this table, because the other ones doesn't have any residential area. They are listed on this table. Southeast has the majority. It's also possible to verify, compare with the average property assessment presented before by zone. Just Hillsborough and Inglewood present average assessment above the zone's average. In terms of hospital and PHS clinics, it's not possible to verify a clear evidence that communities with them have an influence on the average property assessment, as we can see on this table. In terms of property assessment in function of the distance from the center of downtown, I have done some analysis, but I put here just these 2 tables. The top one indicated the average property assessment of properties up to 5 kilometers from downtown. The bottom one tables in between 5 and 10 kilometers. It's evident that the average of property assessment decreased dramatically on average with properties more than 5 kilometers from downtown. I would not say that the same with more than 10 kilometers. Per community, I have listed here the descent order by the distance from downtown. We can see that the communities near downtown present a high average property assessment compared with the per square feet compared with the communities far away from downtown, the bottom one. Finally, we have here the conclusion mainly for the questions that we need to answer. One thing that we could see that the property assessment varies significantly, not only by zones, but inside of the same community. Maybe it's caused by some parameters that was not taken into account in the data set, for example, number of rooms, bath, and other things. However, based on the variables that we have present in the database, we can have identified some important factors. For example, that influence in the property assessment. Land area is one, mainly for northwest and southwest. Distance from downtown, mainly up to 5 kilometers, except for northeast, that are almost the same average property assessment for all the communities, even if far or near the downtown. Number of schools, number of commercial properties in the community, mainly in southwest, and the existence of industry in the community. For example, in northwest, we have a bonus, have just one industry, and the average price of this community is so low. The residential property assessment per land area indicated that the numbers can vary a little, between 9 and 190 per square feet. But the communities in northeast present similar average, different of the other zones. Northwest, which contains the more school recreation area, but normalized this by the number of children. Northeast has less school recreation area per children on the average. The percentage of home owners vary between 47 and 74% on average per zone. But inside of the community, inside of the zones, the communities can vary significantly. Communities with a high population tends to have a low average property values. Communities with industrial properties present residential property values lower than the average in the zone they are located. Communities with hospitals or PH clinic doesn't have a significant effect in the property assessment. A total of children or with more than 75 years old of total residents are similar among the zones. However, this can vary significantly inside of the community. So this is that's all that I have to present. Here are the list of my references. And thanks again. I'll be waiting for some questions that maybe you have.